great to be here in Utah. Yeah, it's my first time. Yeah, I am, I'm excited. I'm from rural North Carolina, and there was some concern that I wouldn't make it. Not here tonight, just in general. But you gotta believe in yourself. I was a country boy, married a city girl. She took me on as a project. Yeah, I was a fiance fixer-upper. Proud to say we've been together for 20 years. Yeah. She's tried to fix me, can't fix everything. I still snore. How many people here have a partner that snores? Oh yeah, I got some hands going up. Bless your heart. Many victims here of secondhand snoring. Bless your hearts. We will pray for you, lift you up. My wife got me these things called breathe right strips, which is basically a piece of duct tape you put on your nose to hold your nostrils open. Now, I've got a pretty big nose. Once you duct tape my nostrils open, I look like a warthog. Now I'm not snoring, but my wife has to wake up next to Pumbaa for the Lion King. Hey! Morning. She's been trying to train me to do manly things around the house, like kill all the bugs. There's just one problem with that. I'm scared of bugs, too. Whenever I see a bug, I just spray it down with anything I can get my hands on. I found out you can't kill a spider with Febreze. It's gonna make him mad. In the bathroom, this giant roach crept up on me, so I sprayed him down with some deodorant. Shh, nothing. And then I hit him up with some cologne. Nothing. And then I got the heavy artillery, the hairspray. I sprayed the roach down. She just shook it off and kept going. I didn't kill the roach. I just got it ready for the prom. That roach was wearing more hairspray than a Waffle House waitress. Marriage is tough, it is. Marriage is hard, but it's worth it. It's totally worth it. You know, besides, I don't want to be out there single again, trying to date at my age. I don't. I saw an article that said if you want to meet someone, a good place to go is the grocery store. What am I, gotta put on some smooth moves at the Whole Foods now? Can't try to hit on a woman at the grocery store. You gotta worry about what you're gonna say, you gotta worry about what you're gonna wear, and now you gotta worry about what's in your basket. I can't be trying to hit on a woman and she looks down my basket, sees some lactose-free milk breathe right strips and roach spray. Not a recipe for romance. And you can't try too hard with the items in your basket. You can have like some champagne and some strawberries and some whipped cream. Be like, yeah, girl, I got some strawberries and whipped cream. I just need one more thing. She's like, yeah, you need a pound cake is what you need. Why don't you roll on down to the bakery section? Hold on, how about we pop open a little bit of the bubbly? I'm gonna skip the toasting and go straight to the ghosting. Okay. Some women like a big burly man to protect them and keep them safe. And then there's women like my wife who's apparently content to take her chances. She knows that there's trouble to shove me to the attacker and run. I'm not trying to look like this. I want to be bigger. I joined a boot camp class at the encouragement of Groupon. They had me out there running around the field trying to flip a truck tire. I'm like, I'm gonna need something from a smaller truck. They're like, get this boy a Tonka. I can't flip a truck tire. I can't flip a mattress. We have a king-size mattress. You ever tried to flip a king-size mattress by yourself? It's like setting a human-sized rat trap. I got it. I got it. I got it. Ooh, I don't got it. Help! I want to be big. I want to take steroids. I do. I think steroids should be legal if you're over 40 and married. I mean, I already have all the side effects. Might as well be jacked. Go around, open up pickle jars. Let me get my swole on. But I'm thin, so I try to make the most of it. My wife and I went to a costume party. I had a great costume. I wore some black spandex, one red glove, one white glove, and went as a jumper cable. Yeah, we'll get this party started. Great to be here in Provo, Utah. Woo! For lunch today, I had some street tacos. Yeah, street tacos are like regular tacos that I guess fell in with the wrong crowd. They had the absentee father started running with the chalupas. I don't know what happened to these tacos, but I believe in no taco left behind. These tacos were off a food truck. I love food trucks. I grew up in the country. We never had a food truck. The closest thing we had to a food truck is when the El Camino hit a possum. Get yourself some white bread and you got a ditch witch right there. Yeah. Some good eating. I like theme parks. I'm a big ride enthusiast. But to me, the best thrill rides are at the state fair. Yeah. They say you feel most alive when you're closest to death. You don't get much closer to death than the rides at the fair. You go to Six Flags, it takes a team of engineers years to build a ride. There's diagrams, schematics, safety precautions. None of that at the fair. You go down the midway, you got the non-OSHA approved construction crew putting up a tilt-a-whirl in the back of a flatbed pickup truck. Armed with just a broken pair of vice grips, a can of WD-40, and a weak command of the English language. You know it's gonna be a thrill ride. Look down the trash can and see some loose bolts and an empty roll of duct tape. That's gonna be a good ride on the Gravitron. And if the rides at the fair don't kill you, the food will, won't it? Woo, deep fried Twinkies, deep fried Oreos. I thought I'd seen everything. They had a booth at the fair selling deep fried butter. Yeah, you've seen it. They take a whole stick of butter, batter it, fry it, put it on a stick like a little artery blocking hors d'oeuvre. Now, I'm no doctor, but if you're eating deep fried butter, you have really let yourself go. You don't care if you live or die, like, here's $5, let's see what happens. Hey, you only live once, not for long. I'm trying to eat healthier. It's hard. I come from a big family. Whenever we get together over the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, we always have the potluck dinner. I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of the potluck. There's a reason why that word luck is in there, isn't it? You don't know what you're eating or who made it. You don't know if that hair in the casserole is human or animal. You don't know. Could be off somebody's head, could be from a cat. They're like, oh, that's just corn silk. Corn silk? This corn got a perm. Ain't nobody braiding corn silk. And the food's so unhealthy at the potluck, my Aunt Margaret, I don't even know how this is possible. She could make a chocolate pie that smelled like cigarettes. Now, how much do you have to smoke to make a chocolate pie smell like cigarettes? Like, is that Marlboro meringue? Just a hint of nicotine. My grandma could turn anything into junk food. Take some green beans off the vine, saute them, some pork fat, cover with some Velveeta cheese, sprinkle some fried onions on top, call it a green bean casserole. She'd be like, come and get your veggies. Veggies, Grandma, we can deep fry that and serve it at the fair. Trying to pass that off as a vegetable is like making a milkshake out of Skittles and calling it a fruit smoothie. Who you fooling? And my family, they can eat. They take that plate and pile it up high, get that greasy fried chicken, some mashed potatoes, cover the whole plate in gravy like a little cholesterol volcano. And then they'd always ask that same blessing, Lord, bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies. Nourishment? Now, I know the Lord works miracles, but you have got to meet him halfway. The Bible says your body's a temple, not a drive-through. Jesus fed the multitude with 5 loaves and 2 fishes, not 5 dozen Krispy Kremes and 2 buckets of KFC. Can I get an amen? Amen. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to eat healthy. I tried being vegan for a while. Didn't work. They kicked me out. So many rules with the vegans. If you eat mostly plants but some meat, then you're a flexitarian. If you eat mostly plants and some fish, you're a pescatarian. If you eat mostly plants and drink alcohol, you're a Episcopalian. I think. There's so many rules. Who can keep track? I'm doing some motivational speaking now. That's my new thing. And it happened by accident. This company called me up. They said, we're looking for a motivational speaker. And I said, well, I'm just a comedian. And then they told me what they were paying the speaker. And I said, I believe you can be anything you set your mind to. I told a friend I was going to be a motivational speaker. He's like, you're not motivating. You haven't done anything. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, we have speakers that have climbed mountains and hiked the desert and swam the English Channel. And it's true, I haven't done any of those things, but I've done one thing that none of those people can say they've done. I've opened for Weird Al Yankovic. Take that, Tony Robbins. Ha ha. Yeah, I'm going to be the Joel Osteen of comedy. All right. I thought I should do something inspirational, so I ran a charity 5K. Now, Rand is being generous. I get winded running the vacuum. And it's a Roomba, so it's... I'm not an athlete, is what I'm saying. But I did it, and it was very inspirational. All along the course, people were out there cheering you on, like, you got this, you can do it, you got it. It turns out I didn't have it. But it felt good to hear those people cheering me on as I lie there in the street. Gave me the strength I needed to get up and Uber to the finish line. Got that surge pricing. You gotta have fun, you gotta enjoy life. It's stressful. Our washing machine died this past week. I had to go to Lowe's and buy a new washer. Our new washer has Wi-Fi. Now, I'm all for smart appliances, but why does my washing machine need Wi-Fi? Now, if it had GPS tracking, well, that would make sense, and it could locate my missing socks. But Wi-Fi, what's my washer gonna do? Send a text to the toilet seat? Hey, man, you up? Oh, man, I think I'm pretty inspirational. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina called Saxonhall, North Carolina. Wasn't a lot going on down there. My mom would always try to warn us. She's like, nothing good here happens after midnight. Yeah, I'm like, nothing good here happens before midnight. I don't know what time zone you're on. We went to this little small church out in the country where you call everybody brother so-and-so and sister so-and-so. When I was a kid, I thought we were all related. Yeah, it turns out we were. We're a small church. My parents were cheap, they were cheap. They would use Christmas as an excuse to buy me things I needed anyway. I'm like, Mom, my shoe got a hole in the bottom. She's like, don't worry, baby, Christmas is just around the corner. I'm like, Mom, it's July. Got no treads on my kids. My dad, this is embarrassing to admit, but when I was young, my dad used me to avoid the draft. Yeah, on winter nights, he'd make me lie down by the front door. Block that cold air. You ought not use your kids as weather stripping. That ought to be in the manual somewhere. My dad was a truck driver. He would drop off his load and fill up his truck on the way home with stuff he found on the side of the road. If my dad was behind you on the highway and something fell off your truck, it was his now. That's the law of the country. We would spend our weekends just following around people that were moving, waiting for them to go around a sharp curve. He's like, hold on, son, we gonna get a new mattress. I'm like, well, I can't help you flip it. We didn't have money. What we had was make do. If you didn't have something in the country, you just make do with what you did have. Yeah, New Year's Eve, we didn't have fireworks. We just had a drunk uncle with a butane torch and a roll of toilet paper. That's how we rolled. Country people love fireworks and beer. That's a deadly combination. Every July 4th, country people are blowing themselves up left and right. Let's hope the terrorists don't get wind of this. They'll stop with a suicide bomb, just open up a roadside fireworks down the way of the lake, sell old Milwaukee's and M80s, and we will blow ourselves up for you. That's not jihad, that's jihad right there. Now, if you don't laugh at these jokes, the terrorists win. I lived in a mobile home for a while, and I think trailers get a bad reputation. All you ever hear about mobile homes is bad stuff, you know? Oh, trailers attract tornadoes, hurricanes, the cast of the TV show Cops. It's always something negative. I lived in a trailer for years. We never had a tornado. Now, we did have a flood one year. One of the riverbanks rose up and washed away 8 trailers. 8 trailers were completely washed down the river. 196 people lost their home. The police estimated the damage at nearly $13.5. We had a nice trailer. It was a 1976 bicentennial edition. True. And in 76, they put a bicentennial seal on everything manufactured, and our trailer was no exception. It had an American eagle up there. Well, actually, it was a bald eagle, but he had his feathers combed over. It was real classy. Now, there are good things about living in a mobile home that you don't hear about. You don't hear all the good stuff. For instance, in all my years living in a mobile home, never once did I have to worry about ghosts. Think about that. You never hear about a ghost haunting a mobile home. If you died in a trailer, you're not going to want to go back in the afterlife. What's a ghost going to do to haunt a trailer? Make the Camaro in the front yard levitate right off the blocks? Make the eyes on the Velvet Elvis painting move? Wake up at night going, boo y'all, boo y'all. I was doing a show one time in Pearl, Mississippi, because I play all the big towns. And I'm like, you know, ghosts never haunt mobile homes. And this woman in the back was like, oh yes, they do. I'm like, ma'am, how do you know your trailer is haunted? What does the ghost do? She's like, he turns the lights on and off and knocks on the door. I'm like, ma'am, that's not a ghost, that's a power company. I bet if you paid your bill, that ghost would leave you alone. Good to see all the snow here. We don't get a lot of snow back in North Carolina, but we love it when we get it. We like snow so much, we would eat it. Yeah, my mom makes this stuff called snow cream. She makes ice cream out of the snow. That is some hillbilly Haagen-Dazs right there. It's like Breyers, but with actual briars. And it's not healthy either. She takes this big old mixing bowl, a gallon of milk, a bag of sugar, and snow scraped off the molded deck railing. That is a penicillin popsicle. It will make you sick and cure you. If you live in the South, people always make fun of Southerners. They say, oh, Southern people can't drive in the snow. And that's not fair. It's not like New York or Chicago or here where you have a team of earth plows ready to dispatch at the first snowflake. We got one guy on a riding lawnmower with a 2x10 strapped to the front. He's got to do the whole county. It's going to take a while. See him going down the highway on his Toro. Can of Morton salt. Chances are he's not going to make it to your cul-de-sac. Stay home. I don't care where you're from. We all have one thing in common. We all have some crazy family members. Is that right? Raise your hand if you have some crazy family members. Yeah. Yeah. Don't point them out if they're here. We're glad you came. We're glad you came. When you come from a crazy family, it's hard to explain the concept of stranger danger to kids. You're like, all right, kids, don't talk to strangers. They're like, what's a stranger look like? How will we know if somebody's a stranger? You're like, if they got long hair, long beard, drinking, smoking, cursing. Uncle Ricky? No, like if they try to give you candy and hug you for too long. Grandma? It's hard to explain. It really is. My grandma always had candy. She carried this pocketbook, and inside Grandma's pocketbook was anything you needed for any situation. Band-Aids, hearing aids, Rolaids, New Testament Bible, loaded pistol, whatever you needed. Grandma had in that pocketbook. She always had this immaculate perm. She would spend all day long in the beauty salon at the gas station. And there was never a hair out of place, and she carried this plastic bonnet to put on her head when it rained to protect her perm. Unless you were with her as a kid, then she put it on your head so you wouldn't catch a cold. I was very embarrassed. She dropped me off at school one day, put that plastic wrap on my head, and I'm thin. I look like a lollipop. It wasn't even a store-bought plastic wrap. It was an old bread bag. All third grade kids called me old Wonder Bread head. We lived so far in the country, we didn't just rush off to the doctor when we got sick. We would look around the house for common household items to help cure our sickness. Like if I had a stomachache, my mom would give me a Coke to help settle my stomach. If I had a cough, we kept a jar of whiskey in the cabinet for medicinal purposes only to help cut that cough. Now, if I had a stomachache and a cough, well, that's a Jack and Coke right there. I was a very tipsy child. People like, your son can't walk yet? Nah, he's just drunk. He's sleeping off. Go on to bed. Why don't you lie down by the front door over there, will you? I would get these bug bites, and to stop the itching from the bug bites, my mom would put fingernail polish on the bug bites. Now, that would have been fine if she ever had clear, but she never seemed to have that. She just had hot pink. I'd come out from the field all covered in bug bites. She'd paint me up with hot pink polka dots. I looked like My Little Pony. Then she'd send me back out in the yard to tend the garden. We had this garden out in the country. It wasn't organic by any stretch, because they were covered with these beetles, and it was my job to spread this stuff called Seven Dust over the tomato plants to kill the beetles. Now, Seven Dust was highly toxic. My parents wouldn't get near it. I think that's why they had me in the first place. To spread the Seven Dust, now, it being the country, we didn't have a fancy store-bought spreader. We had to make do with a country spreader, which involved me pouring the Seven Dust into a pair of my mom's old pantyhose and shaking it around the garden. Now here I am, 12 years old, about 60 pounds, soaking wet, pasty white, wearing jean cut-off shorts covered in bug bites with pink polka dots, skipping around the garden, waving a pair of pantyhose full of Seven Dust. Look like a backup singer for Lady Gaga. Yeah, they said I wouldn't make it, but you gotta believe in yourself. Thank you so much. I'm Larry Weaver. Thank you.